You are walking across a vast plain in East Africa. It is dawn, the grass is still wet, and the air smells like dust and rain that hasn't fallen yet. Your bare feet press into the cold earth with every single step. There is no padded sock, no cushioned insole. There is just skin against gravel, skin against sharp thorns. And here is the strange part: it does not hurt, because your feet in this moment are an impenetrable armor. Meanwhile, the modern human steps on a single, tiny plastic Lego piece on the living room floor and fights for their life in excruciating pain. We wince at a loose pebble on the driveway. Why have we become so weak? For roughly 99% of human existence, we wore absolutely nothing on our feet. The obvious assumption is that our ancestors were just primitive, suffering through the pain and desperately waiting for someone clever to finally invent the shoe. But that is not what happened. Not even close. Ancient humans didn't go barefoot because they lacked the technology to make shoes. They didn't wear shoes because, for most of our history, they simply didn't need them. Their bodies were the shoe. Before you can understand why humans went without shoes, you have to understand what the human foot actually is. It is genuinely one of the most bizarre, over-engineered pieces of biology. 26 bones, 33 joints, and more than 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments are packed into a structure smaller than a paperback book. A quarter of all the bones in your entire body are located right below your ankles. The star of this biological machine is the arch. That gentle curve on the inside of your foot isn't decorative. It is a literal biological spring designed to recycle energy. If you are old enough, think back to your childhood. Generation X kids ran barefoot across burning hot summer sand, rough asphalt, and sharp gravel all day long without wincing. Why? Because evolution already gave us a natural, built-in shoe sole, the callus. Most people view calluses as a flaw to be scrubbed off. But in 2018, Harvard University researcher Daniel Lieberman proved that thick, hardened calluses protect the foot perfectly without blocking the vital sensory feedback your brain desperately needs. A modern cushioned shoe gives you protection, but it forces your foot to go completely numb to the world outside. Going barefoot wasn't a primitive compromise for our ancestors. It was the absolute, perfect, optimized state for the human body. We are, biologically speaking, absolute endurance monsters. We didn't sprint, we used something called persistence hunting to relentlessly run prey to death in the blazing midday sun, dumping heat while the animals simply collapsed. But watch a modern person run in thick, heavily cushioned shoes. Because of that padded heel, they slam their foot into the ground heel first, sending a sharp, violent shockwave straight up into their knees. Barefoot runners naturally land softly on the midfoot, letting the arch absorb the impact. History can be absurd. We literally invented a technological solution to a problem our own feet had already completely solved. So we have a real mystery. If barefoot feet were this armored, springy, and built for endless distance, why did anyone ever put on a shoe? To answer that, we need to look at a researcher named Eric Trinkhaus. As a paleoanthropologist, he asked a brilliant question. What does wearing a supportive shoe actually do to your bones? When you walk barefoot, your toes do a tremendous amount of work. They grip, flex, and push off against the earth, which builds up the bones, making them thick and robust. But when you wrap your foot in a shoe, the shoe takes over. By examining ancient foot bones, Trinkhaus noticed a distinct pattern. The leg bones stayed powerful, meaning these people were still walking enormous distances. But suddenly, around 40,000 years ago, the little toe bones started. Something was protecting those toes. Something was doing the gripping for them. That is the fingerprint of the first shoes, written directly into the human skeleton, permanently making our natural feet weaker. However, bones only tell us when it happened. We can't find those very first shoes, because leather rots. But in Oregon's Fort Rock Cave, archaeologists found beautifully woven sagebrush bark sandals dating back roughly 10,000 years. In the Irini 1 cave in Armenia, they discovered a perfectly preserved leather shoe, complete with laces, dating back 5,500 years, sitting quietly in a shallow pit. And of course, there is Ötzi the Iceman. VO instruction, pronounced exactly as Utsi. Not Titsi, but Ötzi. Found frozen in the Alps from 3200 BC, he was wearing sophisticated cold-weather boots made of bearskin and deer hide. This brings up a crucial caveat that many modern barefoot enthusiasts miss. Should you walk barefoot today on boiling hot asphalt or concrete sidewalks scattered with glass? Absolutely not. Our feet evolved perfectly for natural mud and grass, not for man-made industrial roads built for heavy trucks. Look exactly where those oldest surviving shoes were discovered: frozen alpine glaciers, high mountain caves, and cold, dry deserts. These are definitely not the warm, forgiving African plains where the perfect human foot was originally forged. For most of our history, we lived in the exact environment our feet evolved for. We didn't need shoes for the exact same reason a fish doesn't need a raincoat. But then we migrated. We walked out of the tropics and met snow that would cause frostbite in minutes, and jagged glacial rocks that would shred even the thickest natural callus. We did not invent the shoe because our perfectly engineered feet suddenly failed us. We invented the shoe because we were ambitious enough to go somewhere our feet had never been. The shoe was never an upgrade to a broken body. It was a passport. It was a technology allowing a tropical animal to trespass into the most hostile environments on Earth. So the next time you buy an expensive padded sneaker, remember, you aren't paying for an upgrade, but compensation for the ancient strength you permanently lost. But if you trace the oldest human footprints ever pressed into volcanic ash, looking for the faintest trace of a shoe, that trail leads somewhere almost nobody expects.